Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the official India launch of the Mahindra Racing M5 Electro Mahindra Racing Formula E Team's Season 5 Challenger. And today is a big day for the team. Behind we have the car, of course. And right now we have an interactive session with the technical director of Team Mahindra Racing, Mr. Butler, the brains behind the car. But firstly, we'll have Devansh from Team IIT Bombay Racing on the stage to share a few words. Devansh, can I please have you here?
Hi Louis, hi everyone. I'm Devansh and I here represent IIT Bombay Racing. We are basically a team of 80 students coming from India's premier engineering college, and we build electric racing cars to participate in Formula Student UK every year. And the team is really enthused to meet you and have a good interaction with you. So thanks for this opportunity. Really looking forward to a very interactive session.
Thank you so much, Devansh. Thank you. So have you all wondered what all goes inside the M5 Electro? What is powering this thing? So it's actually an electric powertrain, which is, of course, built by Mr. Lewis's team. So now we'll have Mr. Lewis coming up. Mr. Butler, sir, if you'd please like to join us on stage. And you guys have selected quite a few questions to ask the man himself. So in a few moments' time, we will be proceeding with the questions. But before that, Mr. Butler, sir, how does it feel to be here?
Great, in summary. Had a really nice day today, along with a lot of you guys here. It's great to see everybody. A few spare seats, but I guess the full 80 aren't here, but about 55, I gather? Is that correct? Something like this. So it's great to see you all, and hope to get some good questions.
So I'm a student myself. I don't study engineering, but I have a question for you. Do you mind if I ask one?
Go ahead.
How do you feel when the cars that you make, that you design, spend all hours working on that, how do you feel when it comes on the track, racing with all the other racing cars?
In summary, it's always a bit of a proud moment overall, because it's a culmination of quite a lot of work, as I'm sure you guys understand, having seen the same thing over many years. Because it's not just about a job, obviously, all the work you do sort of 9 to 5, it's a lot of extra work involved for everybody, so whenever that either has success or sometimes even some failures that you learn from, it's always quite proud really, but mainly with the new car especially. So every year, whenever there's something new to get excited about or try and improve on the previous one, it's always exciting and interesting.
And how interesting has this M5 Electro project been as compared to all your previous ones?
So this one, in terms of Formula E, from my perspective, has been the most interesting one, because it started, when was it now? Quite a while ago, nearly 2 years ago, and meant that we were able to explore the market in terms of the partners we needed to work with the powertrain, try and expand our internal resources a little bit to deliver this project, and fundamentally we've done what we wish to so far, at least. Obviously the proof is in the pudding starting this weekend, so we'll see how we get along from there for the next 7 months with all the championship rounds coming. But it's been quite a successful program and we're quite happy.
How you put things together. How tough is it to start the car from scratch and assemble a group of people who essentially can build the car around and make it perfect?
I think that's a question these guys could probably answer as well, really, because one aspect about Formula E, which may not be all that clear to many, is that we don't actually do the entire car. Obviously in Formula 1 that is the case. So in terms of the breadth of the work that you guys undertake when you do a full car from scratch, it's actually broader than what we have. But fundamentally you try and start from as blank a sheet as you can, provided that you're not entirely happy with what you did last time around, which is almost always the case. I'm sure it's the same for you, where as soon as you finish one car, you already want to do the next one, right? And it's the same for me every year, so, and has been ever since starting work. So the 1 year cycle almost can't come soon enough at times, where you feel like already you want to start again, having just finished the previous one. I think that same process applies throughout motorsport. It's a little, I guess you could call it iterative, but it depends on whether the base point you have is significantly good enough, let's say, to want to carry on from, or whether you want to start again. If you realise you've done something wrong in your concepts, which is becoming less and less common with all the CAE tools everyone's using these days, but if you realise that, then you can start again from scratch every year, which is quite nice in some ways, a bit of a reset. We haven't had to do that fundamentally in Formula E since we started. We seem to have been taking the correct conceptual paths at least, and hopefully that continues with this machine, but again, we'll find out in a few weeks.
Awesome. A lot of people say that Mahindra Racing is way different from all the other Formula E teams and all the other racing teams in general as well. What is it about Mahindra Racing, according to you, that separates this particular team from the rest?
That's another good question. I think fundamentally it's because we're quite an open and friendly environment, and try and make sure that if there's a story to be told about some aspect, whether it be technical or something else to do with the driver or sporting, we try and tell that in a fairly open and honest way. And we're quite honest with ourselves in general as well. When we do well, we like to be happy, and when we're not doing so well, we like to be unhappy about it and then try and fix it. So.
Brilliant. Now, Lewis, you have designed a lot of cars in your career, some more restricted, some not so restricted. When a driver crashes that car during a race, do you feel like, oh, damn it, I made that, why did you crash that? Do you have a feeling like that?
Not really, honestly. Not so much.
So what is the feeling going on inside your head when you see a crash of a car that is designed by you?
I think a lot of the time it depends on the severity of the crash, right? As you fundamentally hope that it's not something that's gone wrong technically with the car that's caused it, because that's the one key responsibility for any engineer in, I guess, in any industry ultimately, but the life of the driver and the life of the driver in, whether it be a racing car or a normal car, is kind of sacrosanct, right, to everything that everyone does. So trying to ensure that everything you do to keep them safe from the engineering perspective is done whenever you can do it, and to try and maintain that is an important point. So if, for example, something happens on the car and the driver's in the wall and you don't know why, and the wheels have come off and he hasn't hit the wall, that's always a bad day. So you have to try and learn quickly from those.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Lewis. Thank you so much to everyone present here, all the students, everyone watching at home. Please give a huge round of applause for Mr. Lewis Butler, the Technical Director of Team Mahindra Racing. Thank you so much, sir, for your time. It was amazing having you here. Thank you so much for being a part of this entire interaction. We have more to follow today and the whole M5 Electro India launch. We'll see you soon. Thank you so much for being a part. Once again, this was me, Soumil. Cheers. Good night.